Hey friends, today I'm talking to you about the differences between Enneagram 1 and Enneagram 6. These types actually have a ton in common. Ones and sixes both love order. Ones and sixes both are planners. They both love to know what to expect. Ones and sixes, whether they love it or hate it, really want to know about the authority in a situation. They want to know who's in charge, whether to criticize or to ask questions or to seek approval from. So ones and sixes have a lot in common. So if you're in this boat, I totally get why. I actually have some really close one friends and a really close six friend, and see similarities in them like this all the time. But thankfully, there are huge differences too. So we're here to discuss that today. We'll start with the first and most obvious one, which is the head type, gut type difference. I would say first though, both ones and sixes consider themselves head types before they come into the Enneagram and learn the language and stuff. They're both analytical types. They're both thinkers. They both tend to be in their heads a lot. But most ones, once they hear the language, instinctive or gut, start to relate to that and really get that and see how, for ones, their decisions or their action really starts in that sort of moral fiber of the gut, in feeling moved towards something, which really is like kind of technically more of a feeling thing. If we're talking like Myers-Briggs thinking feeling, being moved in the gut is like a feeling, and it moves them towards a thought process, then which moves them towards justice, morality, and the pursuit of that. Six, on the other hand, is really a head type. So they really get stuck a little bit more in circular thinking or ricochet thinking of like this or that, this or that, this or that, and have that classic head type problem of really just being stuck in those mental circles. I would say because of that too, they have different strengths and weaknesses. So one's in a cloud of ideas or choices can generally point to one and say, that's it, that's what I want, or that's right. But because of that, ones are not really great at seeing nuance and tend to be very black and white thinking and think that this choice is right for everyone. Six, on the other hand, in a cloud of ideas or options, would struggle a little bit more and kind of want to take time to like look at all of them and consider them, and sometimes that gets them confused and anxious and distracted and being like, oh my gosh, this one or this one or this one or this one or this one. But it allows sixes to see a lot more nuance in life and in people, and it allows them to see the big picture a little bit more than ones think that they do, in being able to sit with different concepts or different ideas or different perspectives and like kind of see what that person's saying. So these are really some big strength weakness differences between one and six. I'd say another huge difference is something that we were just hitting on, but that sixes are very indecisive and ones are very decisive. So ones tend to have independent direction and be able to accomplish things a lot more in a more streamlined way, and sixes tend to really thrive more on like a team or with collaborative direction, or even just like singular direction. So there's that decision difference. There's also a huge difference between six and one in the way that they present themselves socially, or I guess I should say more the motive for their social participation. So instinct varieties matter here. There's obvious differences, but in this instance, I'll say like social ones may look like sixes because they want to be involved in things larger than themselves. They want to be out in a crowd or in a group or among people, but they do so with that motive of pursuing justice or pursuing morality as they see it, and saying, I want to be part of this entity because it's doing good and I can do good through it. And really having that more singular purpose, even if it's involving a group. Six, on the other hand, really looks for security and that feeling of belonging and safety in a group. So sixes don't necessarily even have like a means to the ends of like why they want to be involved in community or in an organization or a club or be a fan of a sports team, or be always the loyal son who shows up, or be in knitting club and watching anime together. Like whatever it is for a 6, they do it more because it feels secure. It feels good to be involved in something. It feels good to be connected with other people under an umbrella that unites them and makes them feel like, oh, like we relate, like I'm safe in this community. And so really when 6s pursue social settings or group dynamic, it is more for that reason, and not so much with a cause like a 1 would have. It's more to experience that group dynamic and to feel belonging. Yeah, I'd say those are some of the really big differences between 1 and 6. The only other one that really comes to mind that is has been a big factor in consultations I've had has been sort of more of an offbeat tendency that 6 has than 1. So I would say generally both 1 and 6 desire to not like blend in, but fly under the radar to some degree in belonging in the culture. Both 1 and 6 are compliant to the degree that they want to fit in and they want to belong. So, but 1s tend to be much more to the letter, and they don't want to offend anyone. They want to do what's morally right. So the way that 1s present themselves tends to be more minimalistic, more less is more. Not all 1s have the same style, not all 1s have the same social expression at all, but I think generally 1s do follow that mentality of, I want to cooperate, I want to pursue good, I want there to be peace. 6s, on the other hand, I think sometimes feel like stick it to the man, but as long as it's part of a group, as long as they have those brothers and sisters around them that are supporting that notion, they can be a little bit more offbeat or rebellious, or I should say involved in offbeat or rebellious seeming things. And that's like some of the examples I gave earlier, even if it's just like a nerdy thing or like a punk rock thing or like a brunch club thing, whatever it is. Not that brunch club is rebellious, but whether it's rebellious or not, 6s can have that tendency where I think 1s tend to feel like if they are being provocative in any way, it's just in the name of justice. 6s tend to more have that stick it to the man type of feeling sometimes, especially in our counterphobic 6s, because 6 has an authority fixation and really is either in a very rosy place with authority or larger entities, or they're very skeptical and questioning the authority. Yeah, so I'd say those are the main differences between 1 and 6. If you have questions specifically about like wings, if you're in that camp, check out my 1 wings video and my 6 wings video. I talked a little bit to instincts. I'd say the exception on the 6 side here is the SX6, which is more counterphobic and more anger prone. So I could see that misidentification happening. If you have personal questions or just examples that you feel like weren't answered in this video, feel free to send me a message. I do also offer Skype consultations, which honestly, I just love and I feel like people get so much out of. So yeah, feel free to reach out either in the comments here or over email. Thanks so much, friends. I will see you next time.